friends. If you've been watching the intros to the last couple of videos, you've gotten sneak peek of Zoe's pet portrait video. She's done. I sent a photo off to her family to see if they like it. I will probably bring it into them so they can see it in person, because photos tend to smooth out the image. Anyway, what I want to do today is paint a pear. We'll practice with shapes, with seeing the shapes on the pear. We'll practice with lighting and some values. Sometimes other artists call this seeing the planes. So not like airplanes, but the planes shapes within a shape. Okay, I probably just totally confused you. Let's have some fun and get started. Okay, let's get started. I've got ultramarine blue out. Use any blue you have. I'm hoping ultramarine blue is a good blue to mix with primaries. I don't know. I laugh because I think sometimes when someone's doing YouTube videos, you think they should know everything. I don't. I learned from you guys too, which I really appreciate. I've got Cad Red Medium and then Cad Yellow Medium. And someone recently asked me why a combination of basics and the professional heavy body, because during the pandemic, sometimes I can't find the heavy body. And sometimes you don't want a thick paint. Sometimes you want a thinner, more soft body paint. The Liquitex website says that these aren't as heavily pigmented, but boy, I really can't tell. You guys can let me know in the comments if you can tell if these are as heavily pigmented. And then I'm using the primary so you don't feel like you have to go out and buy a specific blue or a specific yellow. Use the colors you have. Oh, and then I have Mars Black, which I happen to have. I bought a new tube and I happen to buy a big one in the basics. And I am also using Titanium White. So Titanium White is more opaque, meaning you can't see through it very well, compared to a zinc white or a mixing white, which I don't have right here. I have it over at my big easel. You can also, if you don't want to buy a zinc white, which is more transparent, or a mixing white, just mix this with some medium or a little bit of water. That'll make it more transparent. I use matte medium. You can use gloss medium, but I like the matte medium because it isn't shiny. Okay, so I have a pear printed out from Pixabay, Pixabay. It's a Creative Commons Zero website. I haven't read their terms of service. Everybody's website terms of service changes all the time. So I don't know if it's okay to show on YouTube. I think I need to buy an extended license to show the photo. But hey, I just bought a microphone. So I'm making progress. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm going to draw my pear. So planes on an object. Here, let's draw this like really square. So my reference photo, I'm looking straight on at the pear. I don't see the top of the pear or the bottom of the pear. And I'm also, I'm using mixed media paper. You can absolutely use anything you want. Just depends if you want to keep it, frame it, you're practicing. I love it that I can lift that up under my video arm. So Canson mixed media paper. I think it's a little harder to paint on. The paint dries a little quicker. Okay. So you can even draw this pear. So there's a plane, a top plane. Almost like in a cubism style. So I'm gonna stop talking a little bit here what I think. And the nice thing about pears, I didn't stop talking. Here, actually I might. So the nice thing about pears is they're every shape, color. You know, you can get reddish pears. This one's kind of a yellow-green with a little orange on it. Okay, and then I'm gonna grab, because I've got my tablet here a little bit of angle. It was easier to line up my paper to the camera than my camera to the paper. So I'm gonna give myself a little bit of a straight edge there. This pear has a little something to sit on. Maybe we'll give it a little bigger base in my reference photo because I've got it tipping. So you see, I'm kind of drawing straight lines. And I'm drawing dark. Normally I would draw much lighter. That doesn't look too bad. I might give it a bigger bulge here. Normally I would draw it much lighter. Especially, oh, I've already got red paint on me. Especially if I was gonna paint over my pencil lines. A lot of times I use chalk if I'm painting on a, like I painted a background on a canvas. Okay. So don't feel like your drawings have to be exact either. And you get, the more you draw, the better you get at. Oh, I kind of like that I have a little dip here. I'm gonna. Okay, and then I'm gonna lighten this up some. Oh, you know what? And then we've got a light coming from this direction, and we've got like a dark little shadow here. And then we even have a little bit more of a shadow. I don't know how far we'll get in this video because I'm gonna show you painting planes as well as drawing planes. Okay, I'm gonna lighten this up just a little bit. Just because it bugs me. Let's see, can you still, I think you can still see that pretty well. Okay, oh, you know what? I didn't get a flat brush out. But this is a Simply Simmons, you can tell I've left it in the water, so it's a wood handle and then it just swells a little bit so the paint pops off. So I think this is a 1/2 inch. I've used this in other, yeah, it's a 1/2 inch. Now let's mix some colors. So I don't know, let me know if you guys like this. I think it's good that you know I don't know everything. I think it's good you see me make mistakes and how I fix them. So I want to get a green. I started mixing on my palette here and I'm like, oh, you guys might want to see this. So start with your lighter colors, which I don't always do, but it's easier. So I'm looking for a really light yellow green here. I'm gonna grab just a pinch of my blue because the blue is gonna be really strong. Let's see what we get. That's getting darker than I thought it was gonna. Okay, so what you can do, you can mix it as well as you like. You pull out a little bit of it and see if you can get it. So sometimes you'll see me have puddles. And some artists mix as they go. Some mix, I'll have like 3 values, a light, a medium, and a dark. There isn't a right or wrong way to do it. Some people say you really should mix as you go. I'm all for doing what works for you. I'm still not sure I like that. But maybe we'll paint with it and see how it looks. Just wiping off my palette knife there. Okay, I'm gonna wet my brush just a little because it had, I don't know, you can see what it's abused. Shape it up a little bit. You don't have to do that, I'm just, all right, and I'm actually gonna grab some straight up yellow, maybe. And then I've got more yellow than I want. And some of this yellow green. And so there's a really light, there's a, oh, that almost looks pretty yellow now. So you never know till you get on the paper. Sorry, I'm just hesitating because it is more helpful to mix on a medium gray palette. But I have so many palettes going, it's convenient for me to do it on these styrofoam plates. But if you want to see your color a little bit better, mix it on a medium gray palette. It's easier. Sorry guys, my voice is rough today. I probably should stop the video and get a drink. Okay, so I was going with another art sort of fun lesson trick is to see how few strokes you can paint something in. Maybe if I add a little white to that, I might like that. Oh, there we go. That's kind of fun. Okay, I can actually maybe even do this with a bigger brush. Here, let's try that. So art lessons on the fly. But this is what I miss about when I used to teach in person. I taught beginning watercolor classes in person. There's just a lot of little, here's a bigger brush. 1 inch, oh, that might be, let's try it. That kind of scared me. There's a lot of things that come up as I paint that I think about saying that I don't think about like at the end of a time lapse. Okay. Oh yeah, that's kind of fun. I may need to mix some more paint. Grab a little yellow. So this is the light side of my pear. And see, if you use a bigger, a lot of times I make this mistake. Well, it's not a mistake. I don't think you can make mistakes in art. I think you just keep learning and you keep trying. So I'm gonna try to paint a little darker plane there. I've got where I was going because I got hung up on mistakes. Oh, the bigger the brush, sometimes the better your art looks because it forces you to be looser. I'm gonna mix a little more. That was probably too much blue. Bigger brushes can really help you loosen up. They can speed you up. I tend to get slow because I go small brush too soon. I start like with the eye on a pet portrait, which is good because that's really important aspect of the portrait. But then I don't go bigger brush and block in more. I love the little detail and I get hung up in it. Yeah, that's pretty close to that color. Close enough anyway. Okay. I like to clean my stuff off as I go, so I don't know if that's annoying in a video. But that way the paint, I don't mind if the paint gets stuck on the handle, but it's easier to get the paint off of the brush or the palette knife. So I actually want to go a little cooler. And I'm struggling a little bit because I don't paint on paper much. And it's drier. So there's kind of a plane. So you could say 1, 2, 3. I'm not like loading my brush up enough to do it in one stroke. And then I'm gonna grab just a smidge of blue again. My ultramarine's kind of old. I hope you can see that. It's scooted here. I can scoot this over even more. Let's do that. Oh, here, I got a little water on my palette knife. My ultramarine's kind of old. And sometimes you can help it by just mixing in a smidge of water. And I made it a little green, but that's not a problem. Let me get out some more paper towel. Okay. Let's try this again. There we go. Just need a little more water. So I think there's a cooler piece right there. We could go with a smaller brush too. Sometimes when you fight it too much, a smaller brush is better as well. You just kind of have to. And then don't worry, I wish I could show you my photo. Eventually I'll be able to afford to buy the license for the photos and show them on my videos. I'm gonna leave that. Okay, let's make some orange. I'm cleaning out my big brush a little bit. And I'm gonna leave a little water in it so it doesn't dry out. So again, let's start with the yellow. Oh, could you hear that? My cat's playing with one of her cat toys. She just knocked a toy down the steps. Oh, that was too much red. Oh, maybe not. That's a good bright orange. Now I'm thinking we could put a little blue in there to tone it down. I'll make that a little lighter. But hopefully I'm not shouting, sorry about that, but a real easy way to make a brown is to take just a pinch of black. Ooh, that black's strong. And make a brown. You can also, I'm just sure you can make a brown with all the primaries. You should be able to make a gray, but it does depend, because sometimes reds are a little more orange, or yellows are a little, I don't know, a little light. Okay, I think that. It's kind of a yellowy, sappy brown, but I think that will work well for the pear. Okay, so we've got a little of this. I'm gonna grab a little of the yellow. Oops, it's not dark enough. There was a woman, I don't know who, gosh, I cannot think of her name, who would paint with the biggest brush, the whole painting. And she had really, really cool paintings. I should go get a glass of water. Sorry about that, guys. And see, you can, I'm kind of faking, or already blending, not faking, but blending with the end of my brush there. And I'm actually gonna come back here, whoops. And just fill out my pear. I think you get the idea. There's a light plane, a dark plane. Oh, let's put a little blue in it. So a warm side and a cool side. And you can mix your colors more if you don't want that like little streak that I got. So I'm gonna go get some water and dry this with a hair dryer so we can play with this some more. Okay, I got a drink. So I barely have seasonal allergies, but this is first thing in the morning, which I usually do social media, other businessy things, and then I paint so my voice is in better shape. I usually don't. I'm usually a little rougher in the morning, but I just realized why I was, oh, that's a little bit more red than I wanted. I just realized as I was talking, I'm like, oh, I don't normally do videos first thing in the morning. So what's nice about having that brown underneath, when I come back and add some of these reds, oh, that's kind of nice. So I'm just adding planes, shapes. I think sometimes artists use the word planes when they mean shapes. I think that's kind of fun. I kind of want a little, you can tell now I'm getting into it and thinking, we could have a little reflective light. It would depend on what our background is. Well, here we could grab a little yellow, see if we can get it. That might be more than I wanted. Well, that's kind of nice. What else do we want to do? I kind of want some more of this color. Oh, and we've got to add some highlight. Let's just play a little bit and put some layers on. So layers are definitely, and then you can go over, you can break quote marks your plane. You know, you don't have to, I'm trying to say there, you don't have to stick to your original planes underneath, and that'll help blend too. And then you can blend while it's wet, which I was doing a little bit there, or let it skip over. It's gonna be drier there. You just kind of go back and forth and in and out of your colors and your areas. I think that's the fun of painting. Oh, I want lighter. Oh, that's kind of nice. All right, lesson for both of us. Use a bigger brush. I forget. I get into the detail. I don't know if I forget or I bet you it's just, that's more of an excuse. It's just a bad habit. I'm yelling at myself. I'm not yelling at you guys. You do what works for you. That's what makes art so cool. Is everybody has sort of what they like and what they don't like, and all that comes into your paintings. I'm just going for a little bit more. Oh, that's nice. And see, I'm getting some skipping because it's kind of dry, kind of not. I also kind of want to, there we go. And I don't mind my pencil marks showing through. You could call this a mixed media. Should we go a little dark over here? So a little black. Need some water. It wants to dry. Nope, I kind of ended up with the same color, didn't I? Black is so strong. So is blue. I don't know if I got anywhere with that. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah. Oh, the orange is pretty. So sometimes a dirty brush can be your friend, and sometimes it fights you. It just depends. I am totally just playing now. So stroke direction matters, but you can also get some nice, highlights and light and shadow areas too. And like I'm gonna crisscross there just to soften it a little. All right, let's go smaller. Keep this video a little shorter. I think that looks pretty. That looks really pretty. So back to my 1/2 inch. I kind of want that little bump up there. I'm gonna grab some straight up white. And I changed my mind. Almost straight up white. I usually don't go white right away. Let's put a... So this could be a snowman, right? That got a little big on me, so now I'm kind of knocking it back. I must have too much white in my brush. It's not. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna leave that alone. I'll clean off my brush. I get my brush too loaded up. So I'm gonna see if I can mix a darker brown here. So I put out a lot of pink because it's really dry in my studio. I knew I was going to use a bigger brush, and I'm glad I put out a lot of pink because I ended up using a 1-inch brush. But your paint, well, it lasts longer when you have a bigger blob because you can always kind of mix it up when it starts to dry. You can kind of get in there, and there's a really nice brown. It's almost a burnt umber. You can get in there and find wet paint. You know, you can keep pulling from one side rather than two. So it might skin over on this side, but you've got a wet side that you're working from. Okay. So I'm actually going to lighten it just a little. So a lot of times I like to work, here, let's just grab some white. I like to work kind of a medium or medium dark value. So I have room to go lighter and then go darker, if that makes sense. I want to put some of that color in here too, to kind of unify the painting. Okay. You can totally tell I don't paint on paper much. I'm not used to this surface. No excuse. I think it's good too. It's good for me. Good practice. I made that kind of fat. Should we just make it longer? And if you do something like that you don't like, you could paint it out. You could just take the bigger brush and come back. You just kind of clean it up. Okay, I'm gonna dry this with a hairdryer and I'll be back. So instead of drying it with a hairdryer, you could like have more than one brush going, keep this one wet and work on the shadow, or clean out your brush. There's not a right or a wrong way to do that. Okay, so our light's coming, actually, well, it is coming in for a little bit from the top in my reference photo. Let's not have much paint on my brush. I thought I did. There we go. And actually, I might vary that so I don't have like an outline. Change the color. And then maybe just put a little smidge up there. That's kind of nice. I gotta tell you guys, I love doing these videos. It makes me think about more of why do I do some things? You know, what would be good for me? It would be good for me to use a bigger brush, you know? It may not be good for you, but it's so good for me to teach. Or at least show. I don't really feel like I'm teaching because there's nobody here but my cat. Oh, I should, if she comes in, I should get a, for some reason I just had this urge. So listen to your urges. That just sounded funny. When you're painting, they may not always be right, but just, you know, just go for them. I want to warm up my, so I have some yellow right there. That's really strong. And I could paint it out, or it just makes me a little bit happier to, if I can grab some yellow. Come on. Oh, it's probably drying on me. Make me a little happier to bring it over. Okay. So, you know what we could do? Here, I'm gonna see how dry my yellow is. Yep, it is. It's drying out. So you can only do this water trick so many times. And then you just should treat yourself to, I don't know why I get so miserly, just treat yourself to some fresh paint. I'm wanting that lighter. And then you can see how I'm like, I'm not, oh, and if you don't like something, you like it's a little too light or dark, you smudge it with a brush or your finger. What was I gonna say? Oh, I am a bit random, both on purpose and just because things occur to me, so then I do it. Because that helps helps you not have the same brush strokes everywhere, have the same, you kind of want things to look random. So then I got the urge to smooth that out. Okay, I was gonna put some yellow. So yellow is very transparent compared to like black, blue, but sometimes that's okay. It can work into your advantage. And if it doesn't work very well, so I'm just dabbing and pulling across. Pull a little green up in there to help unify. That's starting to look nice. So sometimes it's layers, it's pushing and pulling your values, it's happy accidents like Bob Ross. Gotta love Bob Ross. I used to watch him a little bit as a kid and then I get bored. Okay, I'm gonna work a little bit on the shadow and then I think we'll put a highlight in and we'll call this done. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna try this. I was talking about a little reflective light. Oh, that's kind of nice. Just smudge that in there. That's kind of yummy. Oh, I hope you guys have as much fun as I do. You know, and it's like playing the piano. If you're a kid learning to tie your shoes, I mean, some of this stuff starts to become second nature. You notice all of a sudden I'll go, oh, I want that red there. That doesn't happen right off the bat. I mean, you paint and you paint and you have fun and you play. And the more you paint, you won't realize it. And then you look back 6 months, you're like, oh, I've gotten a lot better. You know? I think we're going to make our shadows. I was going to, well, maybe like the shadows a little blue. It's just practice, practice, practice. Now, granted, some people are better observers or have more eye-hand coordination. You know, but anybody can learn to paint. Well, that's kind of pretty. I'm gonna bring it. That's almost like watercolor on the paper. And you can do that on the paper. You can, I think, now you check with the manufacturer, I'm not an expert, but like if you have a painted background, I think you can put that thin of a layer on top of your background, and then I put a gel gloss isolation layer on it. So I'm sandwiching it between normal consistency, what do I want to say, acrylic paint. And acrylic paint likes to stick to each other. So you never store paintings like this. They'll eventually fuse together. You store them like this so they don't stick, or put a piece of paper or cloth between them, something like that. So I feel like I'm like 95% sure that it all fuses down. And then I'm going to put a varnish layer over on top of that. So it all fuses together. But if you're painting on paper, you totally can use, I should do a video on that. You totally can use, here I'm going to grab a fresh paper towel. You totally can use acrylics like watercolor, except you can't lift it back up. It would be like a permanent gouache rather than a watercolor gouache. I should definitely do a watercolor video using acrylic. Okay, I was gonna let that dry. Let's try to highlight again. I didn't really like it. Let's go a little, I'm gonna hold my brush kind of like, so you can hold it flat for a big stroke, skinny for a thin stroke, or kind of at an angle for almost like a calligraphy stroke. I like that, if it's not very light. Oh, I kind of like that. Let's maybe let's get some straight up white. Ah. Come on, white. Are you drying on me? No, I probably got too much. Ah, there. So that's kind of nice. That's kind of like a highlight on a highlight, if that makes sense. It's kind of playing with it, see what I can get it to do. If I don't like it, I can paint over it. It's one of the things I love about acrylic. Like, I don't know if I like that. There, I think we'll leave that alone and just kind of, I like that. Okay, are we dry here? Not quite. Oh, I don't know how much time we have in this video. I probably should be wrapping this up. I think that turned out really fun. You could keep playing with it. You could take the corner. You could switch brushes. You can add oh, can you hear the birds outside my studio? You can add the little, you know, speckles. You could add more detail. We could make a darker green. Add more, we can green up our pear. This is a pretty ripe pear. Oh, I can hear those birds. That sounds so nice. It's really cool today. It's almost June. It's almost Memorial Day weekend here where I live, which is a United States holiday. And it's like got down to 41 last night. I mean, you can keep playing. Of course, now I'm gonna mess with my highlights. I better be careful. Well, that's fun. You know, so okay, now this begs the question, which I see a lot in a beginning acrylic painting Facebook group I'm in. When do you stop? And I'm like, I could have stopped a while ago. I would have put the highlight in. I would have, you know, you could stop, you could keep going. I'm using some of this lighter green for dots on the light side. I'm gonna soften them up a little bit. I'm not getting anything off my brush. There I am. I just couldn't see it. And then, oop, I got hair on my brush. Sorry guys, just my paints are fighting me a little bit today. I had the overhead fan on, but I turned it off when I went to get a drink and dry this. So sometimes you don't see it because it's the same value, and then you come over here. I'm just gonna switch brushes. So this is a little teeny flat. You could use a round. I just grabbed the first brush I had in front of me. You could add the little specks. It really has more specks down here in my reference photo. So this does not look at all like my reference photo, but it gives me ideas. It helps me with lighting. If I need help with lighting, it helps with color. Like I love the red there. I almost always have a reference photo or two. I'm not getting very many, there we go. I'm not getting very many specs, but if you don't like a spec or they're looking to, so I'm trying to be random. It's kind of like it's like cloning almost, if that's a decent word to describe it. There we go, I'm just loosening up more. Fun. Oh, this is very impressionistic when you use a big brush. And then we could, so sometimes these puddles are fun because you just sort of mute it down. And then we could pull out, oh, not light enough. Pull out our shadow even more. Okay guys, I think this is fun. I think that's definitely good. I hope this was really helpful. I ended up throwing in several tips that I hadn't planned on. I'm going to use a bigger brush. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. And once I hit 1,000 subscribers, I can get my, I don't know how long it'll take, but I can apply for monetization, and then I'll make a few pennies, hopefully, per per video. Right now they're showing ads on my videos and I don't make anything, which I think is kind of interesting. You can tell I don't like it. But I appreciate you subscribing. I appreciate all the comments and the shares and the likes. They mean so much to me. I appreciate so many of you sent money. I just bought a new microphone. It should arrive, I think, today or tomorrow. Great, big, happy art hugs, and I hope to chat with you soon. Bye, guys.